you have not been living under the rock, by now you must have heard about the artificial intelligence tool that has taken the world by storm, ChatGPT, and the more recent version, GPT-4. I'm going to ask ChatGPT some questions about listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And we're going to test its ability to answer those questions in real time and to see whether or not it does provide us with the right sort of material, with the right sort of information. Without further ado, let's get started. Let's see. Okay, certainly. So it is giving me the speaking tips. For example, practicing your English speaking as much as you can. This is a good tip. You need to expand your vocabulary, pay attention to grammar and pronunciation. You need to speak clearly and at a natural pace. Use a variety of sentence structures. Give complete answers and use examples to support your answers. Okay, I think it's time for you to stop. This is point number 10. All of the points are highly relevant. And if there would be any IELTS mentor, even me or anyone else, they would more or less give you the same tips. There won't be much changes. So let's ask it for a writing task part 2 answer. Let's see how deep the rabbit goes. And there has been a growing concern over the consumption of sugary drinks, sodas, and energy drinks. The introduction is good, and I see that it's no more than 4 or 5 lines in the paragraph, which is great. First of our advantages is that can lead to a reduction in the consumption. Okay. Is it obesity? Okay. One advantage is, however, potential drawbacks. In my opinion, right, it is a step in the right direction. It is inclusion is a connect with both frozen wine and another. The risk associated with consuming sugar drinks and generate revenue up to governments with the pros. No, you have to give a final conclusion, and ultimately it is up to governments. And this line does not make sense. You need to rewrite it. You need to say that I personally believe, ultimately, I believe that sugary drinks should be taxed to reduce their consumption and help the government in generating more revenue from taxation. This last line is not really the type that you'd write in a real IELTS essay for part 2. So the next question is going to be on part 1, general, a minimum of 150 words for the writing part. And this was the exact same question that I got in my writing part. So let's see how it goes. This was my question that I got in part 1. Do you are running to seek assistance fix it in office? You may be aware our printer has been broken down since, and I'm astonished to see that printer is one of the most common office equipments. It was the exact same equipment that was broken down in my essay as well. And you can see it over here. The broken printer has led to delays in printing and sending out important documents, resulting in a backlog of work that needs to be completed urgently. As a result, we have had to make alternative arrangements, which have not been as effective as the printer. Therefore, I'm writing to request for help in repairing the printer as soon as possible. We value your expertise in this area, and we believe that you can help us get the printer up and running again. If possible, could you let us know your availability to come and assess the printer's damage and fix it? We would appreciate if you could get back to the timeline of when you can do this. We're eager to have it fixed as soon as possible. Thank you for your time and support. Best regards. One of the best examples that I've seen, a perfectly written essay. I got an 8.5 in writing. So let me break it down for you. Dear colleague's name, great. This is written perfect. This is according to what the IELTS writing standard is. The introduction, you let them know the problem. Why are you writing them? Point number 2, how was it broken? I mean, what led to it? It's broken. It being broken apart. But that was the reason that I wrote. I also talked about the reason why the printer was broken, and that reason was a lot of Windows drivers were installed and they actually got corrupted. But it's fine. The broken printer has led to delays. Okay, the introduction, the impact, point number 1. Point number 2 is the request that you're making. And point number 3 is a deadline with a conclusion. If I were you, I would rate this essay after minor changes. If I were to rate this essay as of now, it would be 7.5 to an 8. It is coherent, it has good vocabulary, it has good grammar, but it does have some repetition. If I were to polish it around, it would be about 8 or 8.5. And thanks for your time and support. Best regards, comma, your name. So this is a 7.5 plus or an 8 band essay that I'm seeing right here. Next up. All right, sure. I would be happy to share some tips for improving your IELTS academic reading score. Skim the passage first. Before diving into the questions, take a quick skim of the passage to get an idea of the topic structure and main ideas. Identify keywords. Read actively. Great. Manage your time. Time management is eventually one thing that I always say, that I always request, and I always will request all of you. Practice regularly. Understand, like an important for improving your reading skills rather than just memorizing. Okay, so this is a great piece of information. It is asking you that instead of just memorizing it, you need to improve your reading skills. And how are you going to improve that? By reading as much as you can possibly. So we're done with writing. We're done with reading. We are going to throw it a sentence full of grammatical mistakes. And let's see if it helps us by rectifying those mistakes. Let's see what it does. I go to school daily. My school is very good. I love my teachers. They are very good and teach me well. I'm very fond of my school. Grammatical more naturalism. My school is very good. A very good school. Okay, it is actually giving you reasons. I'm very much in love with my school. Very fond. But then again, I wouldn't rely on it. The actual would be I go to school daily, as my school is an amazing educational institute. I also love my teachers. They are extremely good in what they do. I am quite fond of my school. This would be a much better one, but it's an AI tool, so it might have some sort of limitations, and this is a limitation that I see. Okay, so we're done with reading, we're done with writing, listening. Certainly, here are some tips for improving listening skills. Practice listening regularly. Key to improving familiarize your transfers all the time. Great. Focus on the questions. Take notes. Okay. Use context clues such as tone of voice, intonation, and emphasis. Manage your time. On to the next. Improve your vocabulary. Improve your vocabulary helps you understand all the better. Now, a few points that I really like, if I were to tell you, was number 1, improve your vocabulary. And number 2, use context clues, such as the tone of voice, the intonation, and the emphasis to understand the meaning of words or phrases that you're not familiar with. You can of course take notes, and you need to focus on the question, but if you ever this is so important, don't spend too much time on one question and move on to the next if you ever get stuck. You can always come back to it later if you have time. Writing, reading, listening, speaking. Can you give me quick 1 to 2 minute IELTS speaking cue cards questions with their answers? There are time for 1 to 2 minutes. Give me IELTS cue cards questions for part 2. So there are time for 1 to 2 minutes. Let's see how well it does here. All right, it's taking some time to think. Sure, here are some IELTS speaking part 2 cue card questions with sample answers. There are time for 1 to describe a memorable event from your child. Sample answer. One of my most memorable childhood events was when my family took a trip to a beach resort. I remember playing in the sand, collecting seashells, and swimming in the ocean with my siblings. It was a great bonding experience for us, and I still have fond memories of that trip to this day. You can't say this. I mean, if I were to time myself, let's see how I were to time myself. One of my most memorable childhood events was when my family took a trip to a beach resort. I remember playing in the sand, collecting seashells. No, these are not timed 1 to 2 minutes. It's just giving you some quick answers. Don't use them as is. I would strongly suggest you add more context to it. It should be about, let me tell you something. It should be no less than 100 words, because naturally speaking, when you're speaking fluently, you can easily speak anywhere between 90 to about 120 words in a minute. So it should be no less than 100 words and no more than 150 words. You need to be anywhere in between 1 to 2 minutes. So this is where ChatGPT has failed. Okay, and we're done with listening and all of the other parts. So here is ChatGPT for you. You can use it any way you like. And here is my conclusion. All right, so you've already seen the way how ChatGPT can be used in improving your IELTS examination, improving your practice for IELTS. But there is one thing I would strongly suggest. Do not rely on any AI tool. Use it to improve yourself. Use the internet, use YouTube, use any social media platform, and always cross-check and verify from where you get the factual information, because eventually ChatGPT also uses the internet and the obsolete records that are available till the mid of 2020 or 2021, I guess, according to OpenAI, to search the internet. Whereas Google and YouTube provides you minute-by-minute latest information. That's all for it today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I really look forward to making more videos and content like this that actually helps you. Take very good care of yourself and have a great day or night wherever you live. Bye-bye.